Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
I'm Lita Leapin.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, it's windy here, but we're in the beautiful Summerland, BC, in the Okanagan.
That's right. We're going to check out some wine while we're here, but we're also going to find out what's going on in our city without my voice cracking in Vancouver.
Well, Jim, let's get right to Our City Tonight.
This segment of Spirits Up is brought to you by Evolved Cellars in Summerland. Cheers!
Cheers.
We're here in Summerland at the home of our favorite winery, Evolved Cellars, and here with Krista Lee, our wine expert. We're so excited to finally be in your home.
I know, it's been, a year we've been working together, and it's so exciting to have you here at the winery rather than just always coming to see you.
Absolutely.
And, boy, you got one of my favorites coming up first here. Let's tell our viewers what we're about to have first.
Well, I thought it fitting that we try our 2016 Rosé because this is 100% Merlot, and we are literally sitting in the Rosé block, or the Merlot block here.
Right.
And what's unique about this one is that these grapes are grown particularly and especially just for this wine. And how that's different from a lot of other wineries is quite often you'll do what's called a saignée, and you'll bleed off the rosé or the white wine off of what is meant to be a red.
Okay.
So, but this is particularly grown to be the rosé, and the result is this very luscious, fruit-driven. To me, I like to describe this as a Jolly Rancher. A little bit of sweet up front and this amazing dry finish at the end. So this beautiful strawberry, raspberry, watermelon, fruit salad, but not
Everyone's
sweet.
salivating now as you're saying that. Now, we just tried a couple of the grapes there, and they just tasted so incredibly sweet.
Yeah, they're getting there for sure. We're still waiting for a little bit of flavor development. Probably another 3-4 weeks before we actually harvest. So we're starting to get the bricks up, and that's the how we measure the sugar in the grapes. And but we need now that flavor development.
And what are we thinking for this? Food-wise,
the
chips,
patio.
first of all, patio, that would be what we're thinking,
Yeah,
right?
but this definitely light pasta dishes, anything with a rosé or a cream sauce. I particularly like it with any pork dishes as well.
Sure.
Or anything that's got sun-dried tomatoes in it.
Okay.
Delicious.
We're going to have a little more taste of this, and we're going to be back later in the show from Evolved Cellars, and we're going to get closer to the lake.
We are.
We are, okay. We'll be back later in the show with more. Well, a great restaurant here in Vancouver on Alberni Street, right in the middle of downtown, is Coast Restaurant, and we're with the guy that you really want to be with if you like food. Executive Chef Mark Greenfield is here. He's going to talk to us a little bit about seafood today. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for bringing all this great food out.
Yeah, my pleasure. Welcome.
Now, and Mark, how long have you been with Coast?
I've been at Coast for over a year now.
Wow.
I've been with Global Restaurant Group for about 5 years.
Oh my God, they keep their people, don't they?
They treat them well.
Yeah.
And speaking of people, people outside of Vancouver won't know, but there's been some major management come in here with really good reputations and new life here, everything like that. Can you talk to us a bit about what we're going to sample here? I mean, you guys are known for seafood, first and foremost.
All fresh local seafood. So in front of you, we've got one of our signature sushi platters. Big seller at lunch. Huge thing for a business lunch to come in and have Chef Max at the sushi bar create something custom for you. But all imported fresh from Japan or local cold water fish.
Well, and Chef Max is definitely an artist as well. Have you seen this piece? It's just incredible.
I don't know whether to eat it or first marvel at it. It's all about presentation too. And we should also mention, what do we have over here?
Yeah,
This is just unbelievable.
These are actually wild harvested Oregon crayfish. So just flown in today.
Wow.
But,
Today?
But another local delicacy.
Very cool. And our last
Fantastic.
item
And our last one.
way far away from me.
That's our signature Coast crab cake. It's been on the menu since day one. 100% local Dungeness crab. There's no filler, nothing to bulk it out. Just pure wild Dungeness crab.
Now, did you change anything when you came in, their signature crab cake?
There is constant change in the restaurant industry, but the one thing that hasn't changed about Coast is that it's fresh local seafood. You know, our motto is catch, cook, eat.
Oh, very
Excellent.
nice. And we've talked to chefs during our show where we talk about complacency. You cannot get complacent. You're always looking to reinvent or add to your menu
We're
or change things up, right?
Always on the move.
Very nice, very
The one
nice.
thing that's constant is change.
Change. Okay, we're going to sample a little of this food. We're going to come back later to Coast Restaurant and we're going to see a tower of food that is pretty spectacular. And we'll talk more with Mark coming up later in Our City Tonight. Well, we're at one of our favorite places here in Vancouver, the Steel Toe Brewing Company in the heart of Olympic Village. I'm with a gentleman who recently founded a company called Kingsley Eyewear. And I'm here with him right now. It's Habir Sayan, and he's also an optometrist. So we're going to, of course, talk about the company, but first we should talk about eye care, because that is something that everyone has to be concerned about. Can you talk about some of the important things that one has to do? Obviously, regular checkups are a part of it. What else can people do?
Well, the regular checkups are definitely the biggest part of it, and we recommend annual eye exams. That's our provincial or Canadian Association, even the American Association, all recommend annual eye exams. And in that, we're not just checking the vision where we do the little spinning the dials to check the glasses prescription, but we're also checking the eye health, doing a very in-depth eye health check to look for conditions, some things that patients are familiar with, like cataracts, glaucoma, and so on, but even things that some patients are not familiar with, looking for systemic issues like blood pressure and diabetes or diabetic changes that can affect the eyes as well.
And we should, regular eye checks, obviously, very important. Watch your diets and be cautious of other things. But I want to talk about your company too, because they're great glasses, but it's also a great story. So you've made some wonderful glasses. I'm wearing a pair right now. But also, can you talk about some of the charitable elements behind and what you wanted to do and how the company came about?
Absolutely. The company came about just as an idea last year, about a year and a half ago. I wanted to create something that was meaningful, had a lasting impression, and then would also help to make the world a better place.
Sure.
And as you mentioned, the charitable part of the brand is really a key factor for me. Each pair of Kingsley Eyewear glasses sold equals a full eye exam and a pair of glasses for somebody in need in the developing part of the world.
That is something that's fantastic, because you are buying great glasses, but you're also giving back.
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah. And you've traveled around the world a lot, so you've really been influenced in terms of your design by, you spent some time in Italy and Florence. Can you talk a bit about that?
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly the tagline for the brand is born in London, raised in Vancouver, and inspired by the world. And that's basically my life story. I was born in England and moved to Vancouver as a young adolescent, I guess would be the word. Each frame is named after a place that I've either lived in or visited, not just named after, I should say inspired, even the style but has been inspired by. The one that you're wearing, for example, is named after London. It's called Oxford.
Oxford, yes.
Yeah, the one for Vancouver is Stanley, and the one for Florence is called Vecchio, for Ponte Vecchio, which is the famous landmark there in Florence.
Sure. Listen, I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll have the website and everything up for people to search you out. And congratulations on not only great product, but also doing a lot of great good behind the product.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, we're back here at Evolve Cellars in Summerlin, a place we've been waiting to get to for the last year with Krista Lee and our Spirits Up segment. Before we get into the wine we're about to have, can you tell us a little bit about what people can experience when they come up here?
Absolutely. So not only do we have a stunning view here, but we have a tasting room where we offer complimentary tastings. We have a picnic bar, so we've got a number of paninis, some salads, charcuterie, so that you can sit on the picnic area here and just enjoy the view and the wines.
With the picnic license.
With the picnic
license, great.
And we do a lot of weddings and events. So we do yoga in the vineyard, we do artist classes here, a lot of weddings. We have our wine festival pig roast that we do as well. So lots of fun.
Lots of money.
Yes.
Well, what are we about to? Yeah, I was going to say, what are we about to have here?
So this is our new Elevate Cabernet Shiraz 2016. We've just bottled it, just released it. Today is actually literally the first time I'm tasting it since we bottled it as well. So this is 70% Cabernet Sauvignon and 30% Shiraz. So,
very nice.
And similar to our other wines from Evolve, they're meant to be very juicy, round, luscious.
That's very nice.
Easy drinking.
Oh, very easy drinking.
Yeah.
Lovely. I can see pairing that with many, many things.
Like?
Absolutely. I think this one will go really nicely with a nice pasta dish, some like hearty dishes, like a nice stew even, or pizza.
Or chips. Can you say chips too?
Chips. Everything goes with chips, Jim.
Okay.
Wonderful.
We're actually going to move closer to the water, the lake behind us, when we come back with the last part of our Spirits Up segment. Stay tuned.
Awesome is this. Open Road Audi has given us an R8 Spider, and it's all part of this cross Canada tour where they brought all these super gorgeous cars, and we get to drive them. This is amazing. This is a hot car.
Well, thanks, Lita. Looks like you're having a great time. I'm inside the Audi Boundary showroom with the general manager, Brad Beckett. And Brad, cars are at an all-time high right now, sales-wise. You guys are having a great year. Can you tell us about what we're experiencing here today and what the customers can experience? This Audi Sports Series, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's the Audi Sports Tour.
Tour, right.
Audi Sport is the new brand from Audi. They've expanded their Audi Sport lineup to include the R8, which I think Lita's having fun in right now, the RS7, and the two new entries this year, the TTRS and the RS3.
And as you mentioned, Lita's driving the R8. Can you tell us about that brand new vehicle?
There's nothing better in the Audi lineup than the R8.
Really?
It's the second generation of the iconic, exotic R8. This year it comes in the Spider and in the Coupe with a V10 or a V10 Plus car with horsepower topping out at 605.
Wow. And you guys have quite a loyal fan base, don't you? You've got some customers you were saying that come in here every 6-7 months and buy a new vehicle.
We got some very passionate Audi owners and drivers, and that's why today's such an exciting day for them. They get a chance to come in and, like I say, play in the candy store, test drive all the cars, and have a real good time with the vehicles.
And I guess everybody that wants to buy one of your vehicles wants to test drive, so your staff here are available every day. Take people out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
That's their job. Their job is to show the vehicles to customers, make sure the customers are fitted right for the right vehicle, and really get a chance to understand what these vehicles are capable of and what they can do.
Very nice, Brad. Well, I don't think Lita's coming back, so you may have lost a car.
Well, that's okay.
Well, here we are at the Pacific Inn Resort and Conference Center on a beautiful sunny afternoon. Lita, what would bring us indoors on a day like this?
It is the Vancouver Whiskey Festival. Now, I am a newbie to whiskey, so this is really exciting to learn the ins and outs of these fine spirits.
That's what we're going to do right now. Okay, Daryl, you are the guy we talked to a few episodes ago about this whole festival. Can you tell our viewers at home what they can expect, I guess, for next year? Because you'll be back again next year.
Oh, we'll be back. We've been here from year one. This is an unbelievable show right now. I'm looking around this room, and it is a who's who of the whiskey world. You got Jamie from Balvenie, Ashok's all the way in from Bangalore here, from Amra.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. The incomparable Stacey Kyle here pouring single barrel whiskeys. This is the whiskey show. Legacy will always be here.
That's true. And you know what we're going to do? We were talking to someone earlier about just the charity component as well, which is great.
Well, that's what I really like about these things. We got involved heavily. We did the first on-site store ever because we like the charity. Our ownership group is British Columbia based. They want to make sure that everything is for charity. We have a huge charity aspect of our business, and it was just in line with what we thought philosophically. So of course we're here. I love the fact that these have to help for charity and they're not for profit.
Great. You're a busy man today and in demand. Go drink and answer questions.
All right, I'm on my way to get some Amra.
Okay.
Well, now we're at the Odd Society Spirit booth, and I love it because it's a local. And so tell us a little bit about what you're pouring and some of the process that you go through.
So this is our 3-year aged single malt whiskey. All the malt comes from, or the barley comes from Prince George, and is malted there too. So it's a BC whiskey. Everything is done in the distillery in East Vancouver by the distiller Gordon Gland, it's a lovely light whiskey, and it's fun to have a BC whiskey.
And how long have you guys been around? A little while, no?
I think 4 years this year.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, and we were able to release this last year. It was our first release because we were 3 years old, and it sold out all in one day. People lined up in the snow to come and get it.
Wow.
Nice, wow. Well, I'm not lining up in the snow, but anyway, thank you for the taste.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Cheers. So a Japanese style whiskey. Please
right.
explain how that it came to be.
All right, so this distillery is the only Japanese whiskey that's produced by Otoji, which is grandmaster of sake making. And this distillery has been around 1680s, one of
Wow.
the most well-known historical distillery in Japan. And in the 1990s, they're the first Japanese company that started producing Japanese whiskey. and they went to Scotland. They purchased the barley from Scotland and say, hey, we're gonna use our own sake technique and make our own sake.
How fascinating.
Yes.
Wow, and so it's a big hit.
It is. So far it's been great and the market love it. It's very smooth, very elegant and silky, and it's great with any kind of Japanese vodka or on its own.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, Stuart, tell us a bit about what we're drinking right now. Lita and I are drinking two very different types of whiskey.
You're drinking our core whiskey, which is single malted barley, 100% malted barley, aged in Farmer Jack Daniel's barrels. It's a 3-year-old whiskey.
Yeah.
And you have our Canada 150 limited edition. It's a mix of malted rye and malted barley. The malted rye component was aged in Farmer Jack Daniel's barrels, and the essentially lightly peated malted barley was aged in Oloroso whiskey, Oloroso sherry barrels.
So for a newbie and just starting to, appreciate whiskey and Scotch, can you tell us a little bit about the distinct differences when somebody goes up there and they say bourbon, they see whiskey, they see rye, they see Scotch? What as an expert, what would you say differentiates all of these particular spirits?
The grain is the first thing that differentiates them.
Perfect.
Then the different types of barrels that are used, whether they're new barrels, refilled barrels, that makes a large difference.
Wow, interesting.
Cool. And what is, so you mentioned, which I'm sure a lot of viewers, their ears perked up when you said Jack Daniel's barrels. Mm-hmm. Why would you choose something like that?
In America, they can only use the barrels one time. If they're using for bourbon or Tennessee whiskey.
Really?
It's one use only. Then lots of other industries buy the barrels from them. So they're already seasoned with the bourbon or Tennessee whiskey that went in there first. And you get the spirit actually, you get more of the spirit character shining through, less of the barrel in a single malt whiskey generally.
Well, Vancouver's Whiskies Festival has all kinds of spirits that I'm actually not always straight on. Speaking of like straight bourbon whiskey, and then you've got Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and it's just a bit confusing. Yes, rye. Can you give us a difference between, say, a rye whiskey and a straight bourbon whiskey?
So the straight bourbon whiskey, the main ingredient is corn. So corn is the main ingredient in actually all bourbons.
Okay, good.
With the rye is actually the second ingredient in all of them. It's just the processing. The one we have here is the Weller Special Reserve, and this is actually a wheat bourbon.
Okay.
So the second ingredient is wheat.
Okay.
Versus the rye, which is in the straight bourbon whiskey.
So now here's a question: when I'm gluten-free, is the wheat processed enough that it wouldn't affect someone who's gluten-free?
Typically, yes, but again, it is your body, and it's like as an alcohol, you should be fine.
Well, and that's good.
And actually, I've got a question. I'm not gluten-free, but can we leave with 2 bottles each, please? This health and wellness segment is brought to you by Viva Nutraceuticals.
Well, we are back here at the Pacific Inn Resort and Conference Center in White Rock. You'll always know the salmon-colored building.
Salmon,
very
not pink.
tropical.
That's right. That's right, and we're back here to talk about stress. Dr. Gita, you were here with Lita and I in our last episode, and we talked about, proper sleep, of course, how to combat stress, how to deal with the physicality of stress. But let's talk now about nutrition and diet.
Well, diet is important. Probably the key factor in diet that people aren't aware of a lot is the intake of caffeine. Now, caffeine is something that gives us good energy through the day, but at night it can be a stimulant and keep you awake. And the problem with that is that if you're not sleeping well at night, you wake up in the morning and you're tired, and what do? You have more caffeine. It becomes a vicious circle. Dietarily, as far as what's in our lifestyle, caffeine is probably a big one. Other things that are nutritional that can affect our sleep are a high carbohydrate sugar diet. That can cause low blood sugar attacks for people. So So during the day, they're all sluggish and they're taking naps during the day. So it breaks up that sleep cycle. And at night, subsequently, they don't sleep as well. Simple nutrition. So eating healthy fruits, vegetables, a good organic meats, things like that. Stay away from stimulants, your energy drinks, things like that can stabilize your sleep behavior for sure.
And when people aren't able to eat properly, I mean, all of us, we're busy, we eat every daily. So any suggestions for supplementation for a good sleep?
Supplementation? When it comes to supplementation for good sleep, there are all kinds that we use, depending on the type and the nature of the sleep disorder. If people have a high-stress lifestyle, for example, they're releasing a hormone called cortisol, which is like an adrenal hormone. And that hormone is responsible for what we call a fight or flight response.
Yes.
So with that hormone, when there's stress hitting us, we either fight back or run away. And that hormone can be helpful, as you said, good stress is there, but it can also be detrimental in that it can keep us awake at night. So we use supplements such as plant extracts like valerian, L-theanine, GABA. There's a Relora. These are nutritional supplements that can actually calm down that cortisol so we get a restful sleep at night.
Naturally.
Absolutely.
Naturally.
Yeah.
And let's throw in that thing that we all love and how it affects sleeping and our diet and everything, and that's alcohol. How many people go out late at night? I sometimes will go out and have a glass of wine at dinner. Alita knows this, and we've talked about this, where come home though, and I'll go to bed early, but 4 hours later, it's like clockwork, I'm awake.
And I think alcohol has that impact on most people because it is it has a sedative effect. So when you drink a certain amount of alcohol, you'll pass out very quickly, so you'll fall asleep. But then it can have an impact on your blood sugar and your cortisol level. So through the middle of the night, your blood sugar can drop. And subsequently, the person wakes up because the body needs to keep that sugar stable. Boom, all of a sudden you're waking up and you're awake and you can't get back to sleep. So that's why alcohol has that positive, negative, knocks you out, but it won't be a good sustained sleep.
And not good for stress.
But it's not a good idea to have chocolate by the bed and just to eat it when you wake up.
Darn it. This is causing me stress. Listen, you're always great to talk to about this, and of course you have more information on your website. Talk about stress, and of course in your book. Get help if you are having trouble with stress is the first thing Dr. Gita said in our last episode. Thank you for joining us. Always good to have you here with us.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Insozia is an effective sleep aid that can help you wake up in the morning feeling well rested. The traditional Chinese herbal medicine is patented and has been used for centuries to help relieve insomnia due to heart-blood deficiency. Insozia is made in Canada, formulated by doctors, and manufactured by experts with more than 20 years of experience. For more information, go to vivahealthsolutions.com.
This edition of the Health and Wellness segment has been brought to you by Viva Nutraceuticals.
We're back here at Coast Restaurant by Global Group and joined by the head executive chef, Mark. Mark, what's different about the oysters that you shuck here at Coast?
Well, what I've got shucked for you right now are Effingham oysters.
Ah, love those guys.
Yeah.
They're cultivated.
They've been on our show. Yeah,
West
the good
Coast
guys.
of Vancouver Island, sustainably farmed, and it's a direct farm to restaurant or farm to table concept.
Right.
So we get the oysters in fresh every day.
Every day?
Right out of the water.
Every day.
So
wow.
a lot of places, not to criticize other restaurants in town, but a lot of places say fresh, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, right?
Well, there's all different ways. Oysters can last out of the water for several days, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But at Coast, we simply prepare everything. There's nothing to hide behind. So the freshness of the product and ingredient is paramount.
Can you talk a little bit about oysters too? I mean, there's people out there that really don't know a lot about them.
Yeah, absolutely. The West Coast is kind of the premier oyster growing region of Canada. There's great oysters from the East Coast, but a completely different climate.
Right.
We've got the high mountains and the deep cold waters here. They call it the Emerald Sea.
Right.
So all the huge sea life that comes here, the whales, the orcas, everything is supported by the richness of the water. Oysters eat the plankton in the water, these rich algae blooms that make it the Emerald Sea, and that's what grows these oysters so fast. So oysters this size might be grown in about 18 months out here.
Right.
Where a similar sized oyster from the East Coast could take upwards of 4 years.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
That's interesting.
What is this giant tower of food?
That we've been salivating over.
This is our signature seafood tower here at Coast. It features some of those same Effingham oysters. There's ahi tuna poke on the top. We've got spot prawns. There's local Dungeness crab, the same that we use in the signature crab cake. We've got scallop ceviche, snow crab,
Wow.
poached Atlantic lobster.
This This is an incredible seafood tower.
It's a little bit of everything.
Wow. And we should say, too, that if you're not into seafood, you also have a sister restaurant next door that can offer you other variations and types of food, right?
Yeah, we have Black and Blue next door, which is Canada's premier steakhouse. And we actually feature steaks dry aged from Black and Blue on our menu here at Coast.
Oh, perfect. So you don't have to move around. You can stay here and eat everything.
Right here.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to stay right here. Actually, Mark, it's been great talking to you, but we're done with you. We really have to dig into this fantastic food that you cooked, and we can find you here all the time.
Enjoy.
If you're not from Vancouver, check out Coast Restaurant by Global Group, right in the middle of downtown Vancouver. Thanks, Mark.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Scott Garrett. I'm the general manager at Coast Restaurant here in Vancouver, and you are watching Our City Tonight.
Well, we always love our giveaways on Our City Tonight, and we have a great book. It's YLA Pourquoi Paris. And we know those are world-class cities, but this is a great book to tell you why.
Yeah, folks, all you have to do is go to, Lita, Facebook, and social media, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, and just hashtag YLA Pourquoi Paris.
Yes, and we'll get in touch with you if you're a winner. We've got a copy, thanks to the folks that provided the book for us. A great read, because they're both great cities.
We're back here in Summerland at Evolve Cellars, and we're down by the lake now. This is just a beautiful winery.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pretty stunning office.
Nice office. Okay, now what are we going to have for our last wine? Is this something that we can see actually on the vines here?
Absolutely. So this is our 2016 Pinot Gris. So I thought fitting that we are literally standing in the Pinot Gris vineyard here. So you can see that it's got sort of that gray, pinky tone to it, the grape itself. But the wine's very clear because we leave it not on the skin at all, so no skin contact at all. But what we did was we fermented in 300-liter stainless barrels, and then we stir the leaves, and by doing that, just gives it a little texture, gives it a little body, but no oak to it, because none of our whites at Evolve Cellars have any oak. So they're very fresh, fruit-forward, easy drinking.
Well, let's easy drink this.
There you go.
Oh, that's delicious, and I can totally see why. I know this is the ceremonial area.
It is. This is where we have a lot of weddings, is right here at the ceremony site. The property goes right down to the water, so you can actually visit us by boat if you like as well.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know anybody that owns a boat, but you rich people up here, actually. And this is not something I'm drinking just in the summer. Like, this is a really nice thing. What would you throw with this food?
This, I like it with any kind of poultry, any kind of chicken dishes.
Right?
Again, pastas work really well. Something with a cream sauce. It's got nice acidity that's going to cut through some of that richness and some heavier sauces. Or on its own, really.
Nice.
On its own. Here's to on its own.
Yes, and hey, thanks for hosting us here in Summerland this week. It's been a fantastic time. Thanks very much.
Thank you for joining us in the
Cheers.
Okanagan. Cheers. Cheers. This segment of Spirits Up was brought to you by Evolve Cellars in Summerland. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, that wraps up another edition of our show, Jim. We're here. We loved being here in Summerland, British Columbia, in wine country.
That's right, yeah, some good wines. And that does it for Our City Tonight. We'll see you next time.
While in Summerland, Our City Tonight stayed at the Summerland Waterfront Resort and Spa. Sunglasses provided by Kingsley Eyewear, the official eyewear of Our City Tonight. Transportation for this episode of Our City Tonight was provided by Open Road Audi Boundary.